There's nothing good about the war, that's for sure. But if you want to find something, the only good thing maybe is that the Russians are now destroying old Soviet infrastructure, which is obsolete. So everybody talks about build back better, to emphasize for me on better. Which means for me, if you rebuild now houses, build them CO2 efficient, for example, energy efficient. Do we see that? If we continue the same way as until now, there's a tender, the cheapest wins, and then you have no discrimination, but let's say a Turkish company building as cheap as possible. There's no advantage, there's nothing new. If Ukraine wants to get into the EU, one of the questions will be, how much CO2 do you bring in? Because EU wants to be CO2 neutral. That answer that Ukraine will have to give at that moment is very bad. If now, that's the first step, the ministry would say, we look into the future. We want to build from now on buildings that are CO2 efficient. The first incentive for this company in Germany, and it can be an Italian, it can be a Spanish, it can be a Ukrainian who develops things in R&D, but that has not done it because it just was not worth to do it, because you never could sell it for the cost. So now they would say, now it makes sense to be there. Then you give on top what I just mentioned before, this little incentive, that company would straight away come here and say, I want to build now, and when the others are coming after the war, I have this cost advantage, I have my people trained, I can start immediately when the reconstruction starts, and probably I have already done a couple of things before, so I trained already a bit how it works here, and that would work. And let's face it, the option is either you get nothing, because these investors will not come, or earliest after the war, or you say, they are coming now, I don't get all the corporate taxes, but I get employment, I get investment in the country, I get the taxes from the employees, etc. But I think there still has to happen a little bit also here from the government.